Mr. Mnangagwa. I appreciate. Perhaps I don't think you will be definitely running the next presidential elections. I do not see that. If you will be, then there's something wrong here, and that will be part of the major problem. You see, so expecting a reply from Mr. Mnangagwa or a response that's positive from ZanuPF will be a long stretch, you know. We know that. And the thing is, begging for answers is something that I'm not doing. I will never do. You know, because in this life, you know, this politics, how I have seen it, you know, since birth, I wasn't really interested in politics. My whole life it's arts. My whole life it's arts. It's internet networks. And then I always, of course, just keep in mind on what's going on. I'm aware of just life and stuff. And I was never going to even want to be on the public to speak about any of this. I'll always be interested in speaking about music and art and internet stuff. But this hit home because not saying something and saying something is good is bad. So what do you say and what are you driving people to is very important. So speaking or trying to get the government or Mr. Mnangagwa as the current president to reason is something that, you know, any other citizen will try to do. But that don't mean that it's gonna actually happen like that, you know. So our politics just destroys us, you know, in a way that, as I say, it does not take accountability. The law enforcement, they abuse, you know. Just I think yesterday, as I was watching on the news, the police, they threw spikes on the combi. I think the combi flipped and some people died. And what will happen to that and to that whole story? Not really much. You know, people will just die and their families will cry because they're just poor. So that's just how Zimbabwe works normally. Or let's say this politics that we've been seeing emerging from Zimbabwe, you know, police resolves no cases, you know, pertaining to the public's interests that are not worth anything in the system, you know. So I perhaps have to vote ZanuPF, you know, for me to be taken seriously, or I have to sing songs of the party for me to be taken seriously. I have to be invited by the president, for example, and take pictures with the president to be taken seriously. I said no to all of that. I must just be taken seriously like any other citizen of any country should be taken seriously when they're raising serious issues that involves everybody. So if our politics is captured by ZanuPF, then what do we expect? So when I, for example, address or writing an email to the Zimbabwean embassy, I'm not trying to get to Mr. Mnangagwa directly. You know, I'm speaking to the Zimbabwean government, which the Zimbabwean government can be anyone, can be you, can be me. So law-abiding citizens have to care about other citizens, but if we don't care about other citizens, we may resolve these issues, but not these issues. So then everybody is really just nothing, or they don't hold value unless they are ZanuPF, you know. Intimidation of journalists, you know, and not standing up to law. You know, there's so much intimidations, and the police don't address those intimidations. For example, what's his name, Chinono, you know, there were those guys who said they were gonna go and take his goats and stuff like that. But as you could hear from the ZanuPF, I think it's the ZanuPF spokesman, you know, he just don't care really. Like, just the way he talks, it just shows you like, look, we are power, we will be in power forever, and I'm sure if you can kind of understand the way the politics goes, you're born to not know about it, then you will sometime know about it. When you know about it, like it happened to me, it will start to bother you, on certain matters. And then when you're bothered, by the time you start to even want to voice, you're growing older. And then they'll say, but look, you didn't grow up in politics, you're not really a politician like that. If you do grow up in politics, then you really don't stand for the people like that. So it's like politics became a very big business club, like all other organizations that are beneficial, of which you can go and apply for a job. So where does that leave public service then, Who serves the people, So Triple C, I don't even see a chance here. Because Triple C, to win, that means that actually ZanuPF have to speak as if they expect Zimbabwe to have an opposition, but they don't speak like that. So going to the votes, what are you really expecting? So you have to expect, nothing may happen after the elections. ZanuPF may still just be there and people still cry because politics is set up like that to promise you just, in the next 4 years, like the World Cup comes. Everything is built in 4 years. The system is built in 4 years, So you gotta wait for your 4 years, then something comes. So this revolution I spoke about, if these votes don't work, before revolution, because revolution is a correct way of wanting to solve things. We just say, look, Zanu, you failed, Triple C even, look, we don't think this politics is taking us somewhere. Let's just change the structure, But there can be chaos, like a lot of chaos. Right now, there's chaos in talking, there's disappearances of here and there people. But there can be real major chaos which can lead to, of course, civil war. Civil war is something that will be very detrimental for Zimbabwe. It cannot really, that's something that's bad. It's dangerous, Fighting your own, as I said, those type of wars, they spew into, African countries. So the problems now with the ZANU regime capturing the government, they make it almost a disagree to disagree. So whatever's happening from now, the crowd is just saying no. So, okay, Triple C goes into power or they win. What about the majority of the people who are ZanuPF? What happens? So I just see like a robo of just issues. So how do we resolve those issues? Looking at what's happening in Ukraine, other parts of, say, Iraq, just what the world has been just coming to. It's almost like they want to take us to a whole different type of chaos again, Are we heading to WW3? Because WW3, it's crazy. And you can't really run that out of the equation, because there is problems. But looking at this Zimbabwe situation, ZanuPF have captured the state, and almost every function of government is ZANU controlled, and that's a problem. Why shouldn't it be just controlled by that person, and that person did not really vote? It didn't matter. Why is voting so important for things to change if really things can just change? Because when people are born, you're not born with all these rules on, you must talk as soon as you're born for you to be given milk by your mother. Those are just too much rules and orders. So why are there so many rules on grown people? That's a problem. And what will happen actually after the elections is something that I don't even really foresee good, because the dialogues right now are all just chaotic, and they don't seem to come to a point of meet, so this is bad for Triple C, it's bad for ZANU, because ZANU will just carry on, perhaps wanting to hold on the power by force, while Triple C tries. But then I don't think the public is gonna wait for any of that. They're gonna be like, you know what, we want our peace, and then major chaos starts. Before you know it, civil war, before we actually have revolution, perhaps. So what do people want? Zimbabweans, you can't run away from this topic, As I said, where do you deserve to stay? You deserve to stay at home. So if home is crazy, if home is chaotic like this, we can all try to run, but that doesn't really solve the problems that we face as a people. So perhaps it's time as a people we dialogue into what really is the issue, why we do not just come together. Because the major divisions we have in Zimbabwe, it's witnessed, we have these major divisions here in South Africa. Certain people cannot just support, I can't support illegal Zimbabweans, I can't support Zimbabweans who are stealing, doing criminal things, I can't support Zimbabweans who are perhaps may say killing people, for example. I can't support nobody who does that. I can't support any foreign, I can't support any South African. So don't put me in a situation where I have to speak or sound like I have to actually represent criminals and illegal people and undocumented people. Why are you not getting documented? Of course, I understand for some people it's not so easy to get documented, but if you presented all your paperwork and tried to get documented and failed, because if you tried all that, then you have a reason, but the Home Affairs will also give their reasons. So you have to give everything a chance to try. Because I feel like we're just going in a situation whereby we're abandoning Zimbabwe because ZanuPF is a big bully. So that big bully have to be left alone. But Zimbabwe is birthing a lot of people, and you can't birth all those people to transport them and migrate them wherever you want. That's human trafficking. You saw there is actually a story now, apparently there is a lady in Dubai, I think she, doing crazy stuff, out there for money, So Zimbabwean people, how do you find pride in that? This education, that someone can actually sit and get people to do stuff on you, whatever stuff that, that's just wrong. Wrong. So there's a lot we need to fix before we can go anywhere. So the big bullies ZanuPF has to be addressed. We can't keep on talking in that way of talking to grown people like they're children. Even talking to children, you have to give them some sort of respect for them to have some respect for you as an adult. You can't just put force and force. No, it doesn't work like that. So ZanuPF, things has to change here. Mr. Mnangagwa, you can reply, choose to reply if you want. However you choose to do it through people, you do it. However, but the diaspora will need some sort of answers. Because as I said, South Africa will push majority of these Zimbabweans. If they're already not pushing some of these guys back there, and there will be crazy problems there. So there has to be a dialogue that actually makes sense. So as I appreciate the government say perhaps replying on the Panaisha Sibanda issue, we really want them to be looking into the chaos that Zimbabwe is, and how do they work with various Zimbabweans across the world, bring them back to fixing Zimbabwe and putting our people, because helping Zimbabwe does not only help Zimbabwe, but it will also help Africa. Because we have a lot of intelligent people, but these intelligent people, some of them are actually getting a new generation that is dumb, and not even dumb sometimes, but a generation that is incapable, because they're just so far away from home, unloved correctly. They don't even know their real reason why they're leaving, of which the older generation used to know. So we need to bring more reasoning into why are people actually even living life as a Zimbabwean and why they should carry on. So we need better politics. Well, politics is dead, so I don't think it can be better than that, but we need better people, we need better elders better societies. You know, the more the people are getting richer, the more the world is getting evil and bad. So that's sad, you know. So without even bringing like God or spiritual conscience, I mean, how would you want others to treat you? You know, if say many people in the streets, they don't have, you know, people are begging, or the poor, with all the money that other people will have. I mean, it's always good to just look out for the other, but it's not, of course, it's not no one's business to give someone money, stuff like that, but just have that love or appreciation for others, because that's what drives the world into positivity. So as technology is getting more and more and more, people still should find love in their heart to actually want to be better people. So Zimbabwe, I mean, it's chaos. I don't know where this is really going, but it can't go like this further. So ZanuPF will have to really choose carefully on how they choose to progress this matter, you know. So yeah, ZanuPF, and capture the government, please, because that's very important. Let the government function as it should be. It would be actually nice if we would not have a president, you know, just have like some sort of minister there. Let people govern people, man, you know, because people know what's good for themselves sometimes. So just trying to understand them on a major scale without always controlling them, humiliating them, intimidating them, can also go a long way. Because so long and been a while, the dislocation is heavy. And these dislocations, they bring a lot of chaos in the country, which divides the country heavily, but also the country then is at a major risk security-wise from all sorts of threats, you know, around the world. So we are one world family, but we have good people and bad people, so we have to protect one another. The world is changing. It's hectic. So ZanuPF, you have to do better, or just bad things are actually coming for Zim. But how much bad can Zim get? You know, fighting our own is something that we cannot want to see or ever wanna be here for. So the politics has to be re-strategized, but also Chamisa, I mean, have time sometimes to find dialogue and just speak as a Zimbabwean to other people. You know, don't have too much pride, because pride is dangerous, man, because ego, you get into power and then maybe pride takes over, and the same issues that the others are facing, you may also face the same issues. So just think cautiously. For any leader who want to lead anything, even for an employer, you know, they have to be kind-hearted for them to keep the employees, you know. So for someone who say they want to be a president in a political party and govern people, people are not stupid. So play fair and just be human. We all gotta be human at some point. Yeah, ZanuPF politics has to change. Mr. Mnangagwa, I appreciate, perhaps, I don't think you will be definitely running the next presidential elections. I do not see that. If you will be, then there's something wrong here, and that will be part of the major problems. So if we are reshuffling ZANU there, for example, who are you bringing in? You know, because Triple C is bringing in Chamisa, MDCT, I don't know, you know. ZanuPF, what they're bringing, because bringing you, Mr. Mnangagwa, is a very big problem, because the general public never actually had any faith, you know, and here we are, you know. So as a father of Zimbabweans, you know, on your part, you know, doing the right thing is always good. Finding a young candidate perhaps, and let them go to a fair voting system, whereby people can actually acknowledge this, and perhaps we can see better outcomes out of this politics. But yeah, for now it's bleak. So let's try to make the picture clearer a little bit, so that our people in Africa can actually progress by just us helping stabilize Zimbabwe, because the education can be used across Africa, not only in South Africa. These kids, they know a lot of things. We've got a lot of people who are educated in different sectors, the ones who are not yet corrupted by pain and misery and dislocations. So we ought to revive that and drive that somewhere further, and that starts with just good leadership, good people, understanding that we are people, we are on this earth to play our part, and when we're done playing that part, we go back to the source, or some don't go back to the source. So it's very important to actually understand that that part has to be played. Keeping resources to oneself or to a party or whatever, or creating the system for it to be a party forever, lifetime, governing people this way, this is going to crack at some point. So perhaps there's a reason why there was World War I, II, and now we are glancing perhaps into World War III, because when people govern people, people become evil amongst one another, and that's dangerous. So we ought to bring love. And MDC, ZanuPF, this Triple C situation have just caused so much hate and bad towards Zimbabweans. And these are one people hate each other in a manner right now that is actually just going in a bad way. So that has to change. Zimbabwean leaders, show leadership. That's very important. Leadership is not talking like I'm talking. It's actually perhaps stepping aside. Get the right people, move the finances, resources in the correct order. Do not loot. For certain people in Zim, like the ministers and stuff, you are rich already, you don't really need certain salaries you will be chilling on, So people in politics, why is it that you are paid so much money? So those types of money that people are getting paid in the government, and that government being linked to one party, that's a very dangerous thing to play with people's minds like that. So the people then gets upset. So that has to change. Yeah, major change.